Garrett Mills never imagined that his quiet life on a rural property would erupt into a full-blown war against the very HOA meant to protect his neighborhood. Everything changed the day he discovered a suspicious, backdated mineral rights contract hidden deep in his deed, bearing his late father's forged signature and tied directly to Delilah Thornfield, the controlling and calculating president of the Blackwood HOA. What Garrett first assumed was a clerical mistake quickly revealed itself as a sprawling operation of intimidation, secret deals, and falsified rule amendments that Delilah had quietly inserted into meeting minutes no resident was allowed to see. Neighbors were bullied over manufactured violations, coerced into signing routine maintenance forms that secretly transferred land access, and threatened with escalating fines until they complied. As Garrett and Deputy Collins dug deeper, a pattern emerged that sent chills down his spine. Late-night private meetings in Delilah's garage, boundary markers moved without approval, hidden accounts tied to a phantom land management company, and a sudden push to gain control of mineral rights under the entire subdivision. Then came the night that changed everything. Garrett spotted Delilah's hand-picked enforcers creeping behind his barn, whispering, "Lock the perimeter before the feds get here." In that instant, he knew his land was next.
You don't belong here. We can't let you take control. Sign the forms or face fines. Escalating every day.
Garrett didn't flinch. Instead, he transformed into their worst obstacle. He recorded threats, collected documents the HOA pretended didn't exist, secured sworn statements from terrified neighbors, mapped altered property lines, and built a case so airtight that even Delilah's influence couldn't crack it. Weeks of planning culminated in the arrival of federal investigators and county deputies at Blackwood. The moment the truth was revealed, it hit Delilah like a hammer. Every forged signature, every fraudulent contract, every hidden ledger, every coerced transfer laid bare before the entire community.
This isn't fair. I've worked for this community. You can't just destroy what I built.
But the evidence spoke louder than her protests. Residents stood in stunned, breathless silence as the authorities led the HOA board out in handcuffs. Delilah tried to mask her panic, but every lie she'd built her empire on crumbled. The HOA disintegrated overnight. New leadership was installed. Stolen rights were restored. Financial damages returned. And months later, as hearings concluded and calm finally settled over Blackwood, Garrett stood on his porch at sunset looking over the land they had fought so fiercely to protect. For the first time in months, he breathed without fear, knowing the empire Delilah had constructed through deceit and intimidation had been dismantled because he refused to let corruption hide behind neighborhood rules. In that quiet moment, Garrett understood that he hadn't just defended his property, he had restored the dignity, security, and future of every family in Blackwood. But the story didn't end there. Garrett and his allies worked tirelessly to rebuild the community. They hosted town halls in the clubhouse, repainting walls, replacing the oppressive beige with warm cream colors chosen by residents. They created the Pinewood Commons Trust, a community land trust run democratically with transparent budgets, open meetings, and clear accountability. Dues dropped from hundreds of months to just $45, covering pool maintenance, landscaping, insurance, and an emergency fund. Every expenditure above $5,000 required a homeowner vote. New rules replaced old tyranny. No more fines over paint colors, garden gnomes, or patio furniture. Only true hazards were addressed, and disputes were resolved as neighbors, not enforcers. Scholarships were funded through court-awarded damages, helping local kids achieve their dreams. Residents began to trust each other again. The garden flourished, feeding families and the local food bank. Meanwhile, Delilah faced the consequences. She pled guilty, received 3 years in state prison, $240,000 in restitution, and permanent revocation of her real estate license. Her co-conspirators were arrested or forced to make restitution, some serving time, others on probation. The legal actions restored lost homes to families and returned embezzled funds. Pinewood Estate's story sparked a nationwide movement. Other HOAs facing abuse used Garrett's template to dissolve corrupt boards. State legislation was passed in Oklahoma requiring audits, open meetings, capped fees, and proper notices for boundary changes. Garrett's actions had inspired change far beyond his neighborhood. And yet, amidst all the victories, Garrett's simple joys returned. He finished his workshop, taught metalworking classes, spent time with his kids building furniture and memories, and watched neighbors reconnect. Kids played outside without fear, families smiled, and the community finally felt free. One day, a young couple pulled up and thanked him for making the neighborhood accessible again. Their eyes were full of hope, the kind Garrett hadn't seen for years. In that moment, he realized the true victory wasn't in courtroom dramas or jailing a corrupt HOA president. It was the freedom, trust, and resilience restored to the people of Blackwood. Garrett raised a toast with his brother Reuben on his porch. To freedom from petty tyrants, he smiled, and to never becoming one ourselves. The sunset cast a golden glow over Pinewood Estates, a neighborhood that had faced greed, corruption, and intimidation, and had emerged stronger, united, and free.
Every neighborhood has its secrets, and every Karen leaves her mark. If you love true HOA stories like this, make sure to watch more on our channel, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life neighborhood drama. Thank you.